Hey, everybody. What's going on? What happened?
I said, see that shit?
See what shit?
That intro.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I did it last week.
I liked it. So we're going to do, this is going to be an upbeat show. I'm saying that because we don't feel upbeat.
What?
It's going to be, I don't feel upbeat.
Oh. Why
you?
not? Why not?
I don't know.
I feel all right.
Just
I feel
trying to get
same as usual.
Trying to get wound up because we're gonna go out. We're gonna go to the club tonight. We're gonna go to Mannequins.
Yeah, we haven't been mannequins in a while.
Yeah, David will be up there. A bunch of people will be up there. It's Friday the 13th.
It is.
So I'm just gonna try to get down there at a decent hour, get some parking. So we don't know how long the show is gonna run. We'll probably end it maybe around 8 something our time, probably, huh?
Yeah, because I mean, I already did all this. All I have to do is change clothes, and I already know.
So it'll run for a couple hours, probably.
Yeah, I already know what I'm wearing, so I'm not really all that worried about it.
All right.
All right, yeah, Dave said he's going to Mannequins later.
Yeah, we'll
like
be
I said, it was kind of like a thing because Memento's tonight too, but I don't know. We haven't been to Mannequins in a while.
Yeah, I have more fun at Mannequins, actually. You know, to be honest, it's more random. Anything can happen there.
That's true.
Yeah, you kind of know what's going to happen when you go to with the other place.
Zach says Tom's never upbeat. LOL.
Yeah. I want to hear all that shit, Zach.
It's kind of true though.
Man, I had to thaw out the refrigerator today, the freezer, which was good. I didn't realize that the freezer door was broken. You know, the little plastic door.
Yeah.
Yeah, opening it with all that damn ice built up in there, broke one of the tabs off, but it was being held in there by ice.
Oh.
So once I thawed it out, I was going, what the fuck? But the little broken piece was still in there, so I fixed it.
Oh, okay.
Re-glued it. It's not an expensive part. But
I didn't do it. I don't ever go in that freezer, so.
Well, shit, it had iced up. It was hard. I turned it down. I think that's a sign of it being on too high, isn't it?
Probably.
Yeah, okay.
Dave says the baby bats are dressing as killers and victims. I guess that's the theme. I knew there was probably a theme because it was Friday the 13th. So what are they?
Who said this?
So they're Dave.
Dave? Okay.
So they're doing like a slasher thing, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. That's kind of cool. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So. Well, gosh. You already ran out of shit to talk about. You are in a bad mood.
Well, I just didn't have anything to add to that.
Oh, okay.
But you're the one that called attention to me. I'm just sitting here just trying to get through the show. We're gonna we saw a program last night. Jenny wanted to talk about it. The damn fucking roommates from hell.
Worst roommate ever.
Yeah, worst roommate.
I just kind of like started watching it randomly on Netflix because I couldn't really think of anything else to watch, and I was like, "Ooh, this sounds intriguing." And yeah, it was really something. It was like a mini series, I guess, because there was kind of like, I think what it was, there was like 3 or 4 episodes, and then like the last ones were like a 2-parter. And when I went and did research about it, I learned that the 2-parter episode, like the last finale one, the guy that was about, that was kind of where they got the idea for the whole series. And then they did the other ones like later. You know what I mean? So each one, I don't know. I kind of feel like I was reading this article about that guy, about his name's Jamison Bachman, I guess.
Yeah,
and
that dude's pissing me off.
I was reading an article about him later, and basically, like, this article was like, they could have made the whole series just about that guy because they left a lot of stuff out, like a lot of other victims he had and stuff. Which, you know what I mean? It's it could be that some of the other people didn't want to talk about it.
It's so funny because his childhood friend was still standing up for him.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he was just kind of saying it's like, well, he was a complicated person. I'm like, yeah, well, everyone's a complicated person.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer was complicated as fuck, too. All right.
But, you being a complicated person, that doesn't really, like, give you license to do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean?
Once a motherfucker got into your house, there was no getting rid of him. And you were going to pay his way. He was the ultimate parasite.
Yeah, this dude, man, what the fuck?
Yeah. He killed his own brother.
He did.
Eventually killed his own brother because his brother wouldn't fucking let him move in.
Yeah, and so they had like a whole bunch of people on there that had. He's one of those dudes. He went to law school, and he was apparently like really, really intelligent. Like, and he knew everything there was to know about rental law and stuff like that. And so but he never passed the bar. Like, he tried it one time and failed, which is, you know, a lot of lawyers do the first time, but then you just keep trying. But it's like he just didn't bother, keep trying.
He was an underachiever.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he was just kind of like, oh, well, he's just going to use all his knowledge to move into people's houses as a roommate and be, like, really cool for, like, a couple of months and then go, oh, by the way, guess what? I'm not paying any rent and also I'm not leaving and you can't make me leave because my mail comes here. And, you know, because some states have laws where you can't, like, if somebody's getting, like, moved in and they get their mail there, like, you have to, like, go through legal channels to evict them, which, you know. Which is probably good because you can't just like throw people out on the street, but you know what I mean? It's just it can be abused by people like this dude. Yeah. Because holy
don't live in one of those states. If you live in one of those states, don't ever let anybody into your shit. You know, I think fucking Boston was kind of like that. Massachusetts. I don't think it was as bad as in other places like in New York, but hell no. Fucking you want to live in a state where you can let somebody move in, but because you're on the lease or the title is yours to the place, you can kick them right out. That's what you want, because it avoids situations like this. You know, you can fucking nobody has a right to steal your property. That's what they're doing, stealing your property.
Well, I mean, like I said, a lot of these were rental situations, so the people didn't really own the place. Now, the one woman did, like she owned the condo, but most of the place were renting. So the landlord was the landlord's issue, I guess. Yeah,
but that dude wasn't renting.
No, I know. No, I know. But I'm just saying that the people that were living there that were looking for a roommate were renting. Thank you very much, Aaron. Hanging out tonight with you all while I'm at the gym. Happy Friday.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. But yeah, so this guy, wow, what a fucking psychopath. And like I said, there was a lot of stuff. My favorite girl that they talked to was this girl whose name was Alex or Alexandra. And she had this nice apartment in, it was in Philadelphia, I think. And she was looking for a roommate, and she found this guy. Like, usually they would find this. Now, he was going under an assumed name at this point. Like, he did use his real name for a long time. But he was going under an assumed name. I think it was Jed Creek or something like that. And she said, like, for the first 2 or 3 months, he was totally, totally normal. And it's like they were even, like, hanging out, like, friends and stuff like that. Like, he seemed totally fine. And then just all of a sudden, he starts getting, like, not leaving. Or, you know what I mean? And not paying for anything. And he would just get more and more, like, sociopathic, like, as time went on. And it was just, like, really... I mean, the shit that he did and said was just... fucking crazy. It doesn't surprise me at all that he ended up... Well, he tried to kill Alex. I don't know if he tried... Well, he did attack her. Like, he grabbed her neck and, like, was going to strangle her, and then he cut up her leg, like, with a knife.
Yeah.
You know, so he did do that, but it's like he did end up, like, killing his brother, like, later on. Yeah. And his brother had bailed him out of jail.
Twice.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
Like, because he got arrested at some point for all his shenanigans. And his brother was nice enough to come and bail him out of jail. And then, like, second time after he bailed him out of jail, he fucking murdered the guy.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, they can't get rid of the dude and he's making everybody's fucking life miserable, basically stealing and going into other people's rooms and fucking harassing them. And they try to get rid of the dude through the law, and there's no way to get rid of him through the law. And I'm like, dude, you realize he doesn't really have a family. If he turned up missing, really, it would be years before anybody fucking... Like, he had a brother, but it would have been years before his brother noticed that he was missing. They'd never be able to isolate a time of death or anything like that. Fucking...
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like if you had sort of gone through some channels and, like, you know, nothing was working out, I was like, I kind of feel like, let's just make this dude disappear. Yeah. How about that?
That's what the mob was for. If you had problems that couldn't be solved legally, you hired the mob, they would have folded that fucker up. They would have folded him up quick. But the thing is that he was taking advantage of real poor people who couldn't hire professional help to fold his ass up. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, because he knew
who to take advantage of.
It's like they, you know, he was going after, you know, women that lived alone or something like that. Yeah. That were just kind of like, oh, they need help with the mortgage, so they need a roommate.
He was going after poor people, basically.
Yeah. So then it's like when you got in a situation, it's like, what the fuck are you gonna do? You can't. afford to like hire lawyers to evict him and all this other kind of shit.
He was a tall dude, which intimidates a lot of people, but there wasn't nothing to him, not physically,
Thank you, Trey.
Thank you.
Happy Friday, guys. Thank you very much.
Dude never did a hard day of work in his life. You fold him up pretty easily. But, it was women. He was picking after women. And had a gun. He had a pistol. But that doesn't mean anything.
To be honest, if it was me, I think I probably would just poison his ass. Well, he lives in the house with you. Yeah. You just, you gotta be nice to, pretend you're nice to him and shit like that, and then just put some fucking arsenic or some shit in his
I ain't gonna... There's much better ways, but I'm not gonna make a how-to video.
Well, no, I'm just saying that it's if you don't want all the confrontation, and he's bigger than me and shit like that, then... he lives there. Either that or you could, fucking kill him while he's sleeping, probably.
I would have wanted the confrontation, personally.
Well, yeah, but, if you're a smaller woman, obviously he's going to, fuck you up because he's bigger. But,
I'd have kept him around and talked to him for a few days.
I did like that the Alex girl. She was so weird. I loved her. I don't know what it was. Yeah. She was quirky. I liked her. But this was in 2017 that this happened because this was fairly recent. And I liked the way that she kind of went about trying to get rid of him, because after she found out that she didn't really have a lot of recourse, she was kind of okay, well, what are all the things that he hates? He doesn't like noise. He doesn't like hip hop.
So
he doesn't like smoking. So she invited 30 of her friends over, and they were all just smoking and blowing smoke under his door and playing really, really loud music. And
he walked out fucking in a fit to go walk the dog. So they took the fucking doorknob off, so he couldn't. And I was just why didn't they take the door off? I would have taken the whole fucking door off. And
they printed out a bunch, because by this time she had found out who he was. Because he, like I said, he was under a fake name at this point. And she had found out, actually his mom, her mom found out who he was. And so she had printed out, all of these articles that she found about all of his shenanigans. Because he'd been doing this for years and years, in different cities. And she, plastered him, all over. And she got, all her friends to, make fun of him when he came out of the room and all this other kind of stuff.
He was a serial dickhead. Oh, he was a serial fucking dickhead.
It's just unbelievable.
And dangerous. He was dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous and violent.
Yeah, he was very violent also.
Picking on poor women, basically, is what he was doing. But, and he thought he was entitled and shit. But it's a good episode. It's 2 episodes. It's double.
Yeah, it's two parts. It's the finale.
Yeah, and there's some of his victims were in there. But he was just really, they were talking about how intelligent he was. I wasn't buying it, all right, because he was intelligent in the way that what's his name was? Who's that fucker? That old serial killer.
Who? Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy. It was that
severed head fucker.
Yeah, his severed head fucker. He was a Ted Bundy type.
He definitely was. He definitely was.
Where he was. Thought real highly of himself. He did have some intelligence, but he would be an underachiever. Couldn't handle rejection. If he failed once, he just gave up because he was too good to fail, kind of deal. He was one of those guys.
Yeah.
And then blamed everybody else. And he was kind of imploding when all this was going on.
Yeah.
And he knew that nobody liked him, so he just started to fucking maximize that against everybody and blamed everybody else for him being a loser, really. Just fucking loser. Just a douche, man. But he could talk to women and charm them.
Douche.
He could talk to women and charm them, but not for long. Just enough to get into the apartment. And once he was in the apartment, he clicked over to another mode.
Because a couple of the women that, like I said, they said that he lived there for the first couple months were totally fine. They said he was totally normal. He was charming. They would hang out.
One woman was starting to sleep with him.
Yeah, and they had a relationship. Yeah. That was in New York City, I think, or in
Queens.
Queens.
And that shit went 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it took her 4 years to get.
She kept trying to tell him, "You can't live here anymore," and he's like, "Fuck you," basically, I can do what I want,
Yeah,
he wouldn't pay for anything.
Yeah,
nothing. Made her pay for everything. So the women had to fucking pick up second jobs to fucking pay all the utilities and all the bills. So he's basically pimping these women out, sitting up in there like a king.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying. I would just had he done that to me, he knew better. He would just go after women. He never would go after. He would not go after men.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be men. I mean, he did. That one landlord. He pushed his ass over a lot, but that was an old man, so he could do that. Oh man, fucking.
Well,
that motherfucker, had he done that shit to me, he'd just come up missing. I wouldn't have known what happened to that dude.
I mean, dudes like that, that's their whole thing. Yeah. They're gonna go after. They're not gonna go after somebody that's gonna like
that
push
can do
back.
something to him. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I would probably like pretend to be nice to his face and then poison his ass. Hey. You know, you got to do something so like no one's gonna miss the fucker. I'm doing the world a favor. Okay.
What you do is you go to a fucking bar with a whole bunch of fucking tough necks in that bitch, and go make a fucking huge boyfriend in there and tell him the whole story, and they go over there and fucking fold him up real quick. They just cook him up like bacon. Get you a gangster boyfriend.
Yeah, like I said, somebody needed to make that motherfucker.
Yeah, he said this
because he just like ruined so many
and
people's
you could show him like his whole fucking jacket. In other words, his whole fucking profile of everybody that he's victimized. Go, this is the motherfucker, and they go, okay, yeah. There are guys at that fucking bar I hang out with that would love that. They go, oh, okay, yeah, we'll get him, and that'd be the end of him.
Yeah.
Well, fucking warlocks had run through that motherfucker
like I said. I kind of feel like a lot of people didn't really know because he moved around a lot. Like he would go from city to city, and after a while, he started using a fake name. Like he had a fake identity, and so. And like I said, he seemed charming at first, but a lot of those sociopathic type motherfuckers are. Well, as I said, on the show, they really only focused on 3 cases. You know what I mean? Which, like I said, maybe that was like the main people that they could get to talk on the documentary. But he did that a bunch of times. Like, there was a bunch more people. And you know what's weird, too? They kind of brought this up, and they didn't really go into it. But one of the things, because they were talking to like a couple childhood friends of his, and they were saying, oh, well, he changed a lot after. I mean, I think they said he was kind of a douche, like even from childhood. But they said he kind of changed after, like he was in college, and he was in a room, like, or in a dorm room or something, like eating dinner with his friend, and like some motherfucker just like walked in and killed his friend, like in front of his face. Yeah. And I was just kind of like, wait.
He did that.
No, he didn't.
He didn't do it?
No, he didn't. I looked it up.
Okay.
But yeah, he didn't do it. Because I was sitting there like, but I was like, wait, what? What? Yeah. I was like, can we have more details about that, please?
Who was it? Who was it that did it? They catch a guy?
Yeah, they caught the guy.
Okay. Who was he?
He was some other student. Like he killed the guy. What was his name? Ken. It started with a G. Like it was like Gazoon type, but it wasn't that.
Okay.
Gezelholt. It was something like. It was like a German last name. So that was the victim. And the guy that did it was the guy who, I think, it was this morning that I read about this, but he worked on campus and he was mad at this dude for eating in the library because he worked in the library. And he had yelled at him for eating in the library. And so I guess the dude had eaten in the library again. And this guy was so mad about it that he came to the motherfucker, to like the house or it was the dining hall or something like that, and just fucking stabbed him.
Well, it was Louisiana.
You know?
Yeah, it was Louisiana. It was Tulane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Louisiana.
That's how you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems like a little bit overblown. It's just a bit.
Very high crime rate. Go look at New Orleans' fucking crime rate. You know, the fucking 9th Ward is at least before the storm. I don't know what it's like after the storm when Katrina hit, but before Katrina, that was a fucking dead body production center right there. That's just that was mostly that area right there.
But just what a weird thing to get mad about.
Yeah, real violent.
What a weird thing to get mad about.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
What was his name? Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson and the dude from 9 Inch Nails that we'd run into all the time. Trent Reznor. They lived off of Esplanade in New Orleans. And they didn't stay there long, I don't think. But in Marilyn Manson's book, he said, if you go hang out in New Orleans, you're going to end up in one of 3 places: a bar, a prison, or one of 4 places: a bar, a prison, hospital, or cemetery and jail. So it's 5. He named them all off. I think it was 5 places, right?
3 places, 4 places,
5, whatever it was.
Tom
bar, cinema, and that's true. You'll either end up in a bar, a prison, a fucking hospital, or fucking the cemetery. That's
morgue and or
the
cemetery.
Morgue, cemetery. Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing.
Bad place.
But yeah, well, like I said, it just seems like, I don't know, that just seems like a weird thing to get mad about, like eating in the library. It's like, yeah, it's
Dude was
gross.
a psycho.
It's gross, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I was thinking. It was really weird that they didn't go more into that. Like, I get that they didn't really want to focus on that because it's like maybe it looks like we're condoning, like, because, oh, look at this traumatic shit that he went through. And, you know, but they did bring it up. But then I was just kind of like, well, wait a minute. Like, you brought that up and then we're not going to unpack that because... So I had to look it up, like, later on. I'm like, what the fuck was that all about?
That was the 80s?
Well, it was when he was in college.
It must have been 80s.
So 80s or 90s? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't really...
Now, he was older than me by 10 years, so it would have been.
Oh, he was 10 years old. Yeah, okay.
So it would have been 80s, probably.
And then he finally got caught for fucking killing his brother.
Yeah.
And then he hanged himself in prison, so he's dead. And like a lot of the victims of his were like really mad because they were like they wanted him to do time. They wanted him to suffer. You know what I mean? They're like he took the easy way out. Died like a bitch.
They dug up all his friends from fucking school, high school, college. They liked him. They said he had a lot of, said he had a way with himself. And,
he sounded like a chode, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too. But they said
but some people like that kind of stuff.
They kind of looked up to him because he had a lot of charisma, and but that one dude said that he kept catching him in lies. That he would lie about sleeping with that girl and sleeping with the other girl. He would lie about that.
And he's just like, bullshit, you did not.
Yeah. He was a good-looking guy. Big, tall Jewish guy. Look kind of
well, that's what I mean. He wasn't like, you know.
No, he's a good-looking guy.
Right. It wasn't kind of like you wouldn't believe it,
right.
But just the fact that he was like, yeah, I'm just such a stud, blah, blah, blah.
He looked like, to me, he kind of reminded me a little bit of fucking Leonard Nimoy. Kind of hunkier looking than Leonard Nimoy. But
Leonard Nimoy's way
Leonard Nimoy
higher.
was fucking, women liked Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, because Leonard Nimoy's hot as shit. That's why. He was hot as shit.
Just kind of like that, but tall. But the thing is he was a dude I think that peaked early. I think he probably peaked in college, and that was probably about it. He couldn't really handle the fucking...
He couldn't really
handle the normal life in a working world. Tried to take over everything.
Well, like you said, I kind of feel like he was one of those guys that... He
wanted to start at the top.
Well, yeah, he seemed to have He was just like overly into himself. Yeah. And I kind of feel like people like that have a really high opinion of themselves, sometimes if they do something like, for example, when he took the bar and he failed it, you know, most normal people would be like, well, you know, I'll get him next time, gang. Because most people fail the bar the first time. Most people do. So, but he was just like, oh, well, obviously there was some other thing going on. And he just like never bothered because he felt like he was too good to like have to take it again. Yeah. Because he didn't
hurt his ego.
Yeah. I kind of feel like he seemed like one of those kind of motherfuckers.
Life doesn't work that way, man. Fucking, it's a constant struggle for everybody. It's not easy for anybody unless you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you're like with the top 500 American families. Yeah, you can't fail. Because you're fucking just...
Because you just have somebody constantly behind you bailing you out.
You don't even need to have a job.
Right.
And I don't mean to shock you people, but those people have all these fucking fancy sounding titles and degrees. They pay for most of them. Some of them will have fucking degrees from Harvard, but if you actually look into the fucking record, they really didn't do any of those classes. They just kind of... They were there. They hung out every now and then, but they just paid for it. Because you donate fucking $10 million to the fucking...
So most of the thing is just,
get it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. And most of the faculty would be like, well, we can't really fail this motherfucker because, you know, they just paid for this big new gym or this new whatever.
Yeah, and he's never shown up, you know. He's living in town maybe, but he's gone all the time and never shows up, and they never fail him. But they just pass him with D's, you know. But all that kind of shit's kind of forgotten, and then he's got his degree. They don't care because he's never going to work in that field anyway. That motherfucker doesn't need to work. Doesn't need to work. Yeah.
So, you know, but yeah, I mean, unless you have like a super wealthy family, most people struggle. You know what I mean?
Rich people don't even need pilot's licenses. They can buy a helicopter and just fly it around between all their fucking private airports, and they don't even need passports. Which that's quite shocking, but they're so rich and they're so famous and well known, they don't need passports. Ain't that some shit? They made a special law for that.
No like I said, if you have like a fuck ton of money, you can basically just do whatever the fuck you want.
When you're an oligarch.
You can just do whatever the fuck you
want. Jeffrey Weinstein and his girlfriend, what was her name? Fucking Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell evidently was like a very accomplished helicopter pilot. And she'd fly this helicopter around. She didn't have a license. And evidently just kind of taught herself how to do it. That's fucking mind-blowing. Probably just... I have a hard time believing that she taught herself, but that's what they said.
Well, why would you have a hard time believing that?
Because there's a lot of stuff that you got to know.
Yeah, but the thing about it, like flying a helicopter, a lot of people can do that. And if other people can do that, if you want to enough, you can teach yourself to do that.
Maybe I'm looking at it from a military point of view.
Yeah,
if you're flying a helicopter, you really have to know how to maintain a helicopter also. Everything about the helicopter. She wouldn't have to because she has a whole ground crew to take care of that. She only needs to know how to fly it. And she's probably not going to fly in any kind of really bad weather conditions, only in good weather conditions. But no, helicopter's hard to fly. It's harder to fly a helicopter than it is a fixed-wing aircraft. It's tricky.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. It's kind of like flying a pogo stick, they say. I'd like to get the simulator.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's...
Because they don't want to hover.
Yeah.
You know. But maybe it's easier now. Maybe they have computers that...
Well, yeah, I mean, everything's like, much easier nowadays.
Yeah.
But... No, one thing that my grandfather always taught me, like this is one thing that he always said that I always remember, because he taught this to all his kids and he taught this to all his grandkids. He always said, if someone else learned to do it, so can you. He always said that. He's like, no one else is better than you. They're not. If somebody else could learn to do that, then you can learn to do that.
I can fly a little Cessna. Flew around in the one with my dad.
So that's why I don't think it's weird
I can't
that like
land
people.
One.
And the thing about it nowadays, well, that's kind of the important part, isn't it?
I could probably I could get us down to the ground and crash it into where we would survive. But I don't think I could actually.
Well, I'm not. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Hopefully, we never have to fly any place.
I'm not sure I could actually land on the runway itself and keep fucking the wings from
But see, taking off and flying it—that's the easy part.
That's the easy part. It's landing. It's landing.
And I'm like, landing, that's kind of the whole thing that you need to know how to do.
It's got throttle, prop, pitch, and then you have your fucking control services. And the instruments are fucking... the way the instrument panels are set up in those things, they cover they cover the fucking forward view, a lot of it. You're just looking at instruments. You're kind of flying by instruments a lot of times. Compass and shit, altimeter. But landing it, when you're coming in for a landing, you look at the little bitty fucking airfield down there, and it's a dot, and you're going like, how the hell are we going to land on it? You just point the nose at it, in front of it, and you just got to, it's against your instincts to point down at it, but you just point down at it until you're eventually there, and then you start leveling off, and fucking, then try to push down. You got to have balls. I watched my dad do it. Fucking, my dad didn't own it. The owner was in the fucking... was in the back. I was up in the fucking co-pilot position. Fucking, it was a little Cessna, but you could get into the back. So we just kind of traded seats. You know what I mean? It was a trip. But
I'm just saying,
it was hairy. He could land it. My dad could land it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, he didn't have a license either. He was studying for it.
That's great.
He didn't have a license. He had like a student's permit type deal.
Right, like a
learner's permit. Yeah.
So he wasn't up there just like totally being like a maverick or anything.
No, the guy that owned the aircraft was a doctor, and then he was afraid to fly by himself because he had a heart condition.
Yeah, okay, I can.
So he was kind of tutoring my dad, but I don't think he ever actually got the license.
But see, the thing about nowadays is that nowadays it's like super easy to learn how to do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, it's, you could always do it if you wanted to bad enough.
Yeah.
But nowadays, really, anything that you really, really want to do, I mean, shit, man, just go on the fucking internet and you can learn how to do that shit if you really want to learn to do it.
I would guess I was about 17 when that happened, 17 or 18. I could get us on the ground and we'd be alive, but I think the airplane would be all fucked up.
Would I still have legs and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
John Smith said, I saw an article the other day about overconfidence in the U.S. 50% of men in the U.S. think they could land a plane. I'm surprised it's not higher than that, actually. I'm surprised it's not higher than 50%. The thing about
I could land it, but it would not be in one piece. I'm realistic.
Well, the thing about, probably 100% of people, I could land it, but do you want to live through the shit? I could crash it into the ground. That's like pretty easy to do. I think everybody could do that.
I have a feeling because I do have some experience with fixed wing craft and did a lot of flight time in the Army and helicopters and a lot of motorcycle riding time. I love motorcycles. I have a feeling that I could probably land one of those ultralight aircrafts better than I probably could like something like a Cessna, because you're outside. So I have kind of you're hanging underneath the bottom of it, and it's small, and it doesn't have a lot of power. It's not moving very fast, and it's more motorcycle-like. You know what I mean? That's kind of like a motorcycle type feeling. I think I'd be more comfortable with that. It's not you're not inside a massive or relatively massive aircraft.
But they've done like loads and loads of studies, and generally, not, obviously, it's individuals are different, but generally men tend to be overconfident and over, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Their abilities.
Overestimate,
that's the word I'm looking for. Overestimate their abilities, whereas women tend to underestimate their abilities in general. Not always, but that's usually the way it goes. But so yeah, so that doesn't. I'm honestly surprised it wasn't higher. But like I said, landing a plane is easy. Like if you just let go of the controls, it'll just drop out the sky.
No,
you landed it, didn't you?
No, it's not quite the same. Not quite
well,
the
obviously,
same.
I'm just saying that it's like I was surprised. I would have thought that it would be like 80% of men said, "Oh yeah, I could totally land a plane."
The U.S. Army,
even if they've never even done it.
The U.S. Army Air Corps back in World War II was taking tens of thousands of fucking dudes with no flight experience and turning them into pilots in a matter of weeks, and then setting them.
Well, yeah, but they had training though. I mean,
they
like I
trained
said,
them. But
yeah.
the thing is, though, is that they learned that quickly.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that they're asking just a bunch of random ass dudes, "Can you land a plane?" People that have never done it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, totally." Like, obviously, they wouldn't be able to.
Well, they landed an airplane the first time on their own, but there was an instructor with them.
Right, that's what I mean. They actually had structured training. In doing it.
If you had the feel for the aircraft and understood what it takes to land it, you might be able to do it on your own the first time. I kind of think, but like I said...
Hey, Pokey. I saw you crawling around.
You're probably going to break the airplane up, though. That's what I think. That's probably the biggest danger. I think you can get it on the ground and you'd live, but you'd fuck that airplane all up. That's the most likely.
Now, Tom
so is that considered landing it? I don't think that's considered landing it. That's wrecking it.
That's what I mean. That's what. Yeah, so, I kind of feel like when they say landing it, they mean landing it safely.
Safely, and then you could take the airplane.
But I'm just saying, technically, everyone could land it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it'll just fall out of the sky. Tom Sykes says the Barefoot Bandit learned how to fly a plane via plane simulator and then stole an aircraft and flew it away, which is awesome and badass kind of. Yeah, and well, that's what I mean. But a simulator, that's still training though. Like you're still like interacting with it like it was a real thing.
Yeah, I've fucked with simulators before, so that means I could fly it. No, I couldn't. I'd have to get the feel for it. I know I could take off. I could taxi. I could get to the end of the fucking runway and take off. That's easy. I could fly it. If you give me an azimuth, I can fucking shoot towards that azimuth and ride upon it. If I had maps, regular paper maps, I could figure out where I was going. I could use fucking terrain association, and nowadays it's all electronic, so it's a lot easier than it was. But I'd have to go through all of its navigational systems and its GPS to see how it's all. It'd be complicated. It'd be easier for me to do it old school way.
It probably would be, because now everything's more technical. Whereas, now, like, I'd probably be more comfortable with it nowadays, because I'm kind of more like a technical person, but...
I just know how to look at a map and then fucking shoot an azimuth across that map. Okay, 270 mils for fucking 400 miles. I'm gonna be going, fucking 200 miles an hour, so I'll be there in about fucking 2 hours along this azimuth. And when I get there, this is what the city looks like. I'll try to find that airfield. I'll get down a little bit lower. And just go by terrain association to find the airfield. And then I'll fucking point the nose down at the fucking tip of the airfield, then pull up once again, slow everything down, fucking throttle down and fucking just kind of coast in. But you got to have enough throttle that if you have to fucking abort the landing, you can come out. But you're going to try I would be good to know what landing speed is, It might be 90 miles an hour, 90 knots or something, So you'd have to get a feel for how fast am I going,
Gramthars says, Granthar used to live near the Alvord Desert in Oregon, a popular place for ultralights. Every year, someone would have to get squeegeed off the playa after a hard landing. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, Victor says, I bet I could land a plane if I was watching a YouTube video on how to do it, LOL. Well, I mean, that would be better than nothing. Yeah. I kind of feel like, okay, like, I hope this situation never arises, but if I was in a plane, like, with one other person, and that person had a heart attack and keeled over, and I had to, like, and I was going to die if I didn't land it, well, yeah, I would obviously try to do it, but I'm not going to say, like, oh, I could totally pull it off. I would probably crash and die, probably. I mean, but I would try my best, like, to bucket land it.
The big dangers are getting into stalls and spins.
Well, yeah.
And you have to know how to get out of them, you know. Like, I know that if you're in a stall, the best thing to do, you lose control. You know, the control surfaces is to press forward on the controls, which is like down, and then pull back up, and you'll try to get some more airflow over your fucking flaps so you can regain control. But there's certain things like flat spins, where man, you have to power your way out of it. I guess, fucking put the throttle way up, and then just start fucking hitting the control surfaces, try to get some airflow over it. I don't know. Never got that training, but there's just certain kinds of spins that if you get into them, you're not gonna know how to get out of them probably.
Yeah.
When an experienced pilot would. There's some shit that could happen to be on a motorcycle that I wouldn't know how to get out of it. There's been times where I've gotten into slides, power slides on my bike, and I got out of it, and I don't even know how I did it. Just muscle memory and coordination, you know, body English. It happened so fast I instinctively got out of it somehow. But I couldn't explain what I did.
Well, that's probably what happens, and that's just kind of because you've ridden motorcycles for so long that it's just become second nature.
Yeah, it's like second nature.
So I kind of feel like that's what happens after you fly planes for a long time and shit like that. You just kind of instinctively know. But it takes a long time. You know, if you're just completely inexperienced, most people aren't going to be able to do that.
I was going through an intersection, and I was leaned over on the right and fucking went through the middle of the intersection, of the four-way intersection, and there was a pile of sand there that usually builds up a lot if they're not cleaning the roads. And my front end went through that pile of sand, and I lost my front end. It started to slide out from underneath me, and I got out of it. I don't know how I got out of the slide. I know that I throttled up. I applied a bunch of power, because that's what felt right. You're not thinking, your body just does it. So I sped up instead of slowed it down. You don't want to hit brakes, you know. But it happens so fast.
Well, that's usually a bad idea.
You can't think it. It just happened, you know. That I got out of it and went, whoa! It was over before. It happened so fast that I didn't even get scared. I got scared after.
Because you thought, oh, that could have gone.
That could have gone real bad. Right. Yeah. What the hell? How the hell did I get out of that?
But like I said, the reason that you could do that was because you've been riding motorcycles for years and years and years, and so you have all of that muscle memory, all of that training and stuff like that. When you have all of that training under your belt, you have that, you know, shit'll just come to you. It's just instinct.
Yeah.
But like I said, just a random ass motherfucker. You know, if I was riding a motorcycle and that happened, I would have no idea what to do, and I would probably crash because I just don't, you know, I don't have that same training.
Well, I never had that training. That was just experience.
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. It's kind of the same thing.
You're trying to run on two pogo sticks, two little 1-inch contact pads, the rear tire and the front tire.
I mean, but you probably had similar things happen before, like
slides.
You know, slides. So you knew what that was. John Smith said, "What kind of bike do you ride, Tom?"
I got 4. All right. The one that I was sliding on was a Buell XB12R.
Yeah, he has 2. You have 2 Buells.
Mm-hmm. I have 2 Buells. I got an XB12R that's been modified into what we call a lightning bolt, where it's part lightning and part firebolt. So it's kind of a hybrid bike. I built both bikes. And the other Buell's XB9 Lightning. It was the XB9 SX Lightning, the City Cross. And it's modded out. And then I got my dad's Honda CT70 trail bike. I turned it into a cafe racer.
It's super pretty.
Yeah, I got it in the other room over here. It's more of a decoration, and you can't go anywhere on it because you only have 1/3 of a gallon of gas. And instead of 70 cc's, it's now 140 cc's. So it just drinks fuel like crazy. You can only go about 4 or 5 miles before the tank's empty.
And it doesn't go that fast either.
No, it goes 70.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, it goes 70. The original only went about 25.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, but no, now it goes. It doesn't have a speedo. I had to be clocked by a friend who was riding next to me. He says you're almost going 70, but it only weighs 50 pounds. The bike.
Yeah, me and him brought it up the stairs.
Yeah.
Like when we moved it, so he could put it in his bag.
Yeah, it's a little.
we
you just pick it up.
We just picked it up and carried
You
it.
just pick it up. It's aluminum fucking wheels, fat fucking Pirelli tires on it, inverted front end, dual disc front, fucking superbike bars. It's got a fucking little Honda fucking race tail on it. I shot a fucking candy apple green paint job with all.
I love the paint color.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really. I mean, it's kind of like the original.
It is the original color.
It is the original color.
I could easily win a fucking show bike competition with that in fucking pit bike or motor scooter event, you know, because it's a small bike, very small. And the other one I'm working on is it's a 1972 Yamaha RD350. It's just the rolling chassis, and I have the motor. It's got an extended swing arm in the rear off of a fucking DZ. I was going to take the motor and put a 400cc Banshee top end out of a fucking Banshee four-wheeler. And once it was all rigged up, it was only going to weigh probably about 250 pounds and about 90 horsepower. Maybe 200 pounds and 90. You can pick that bike up. I could easily pick that bike up. There's nothing to it. It's a two-stroke. Inverted front end, dual disc front, gas shock, dual shock rear. The fucking gas tank that I had on that was a Yamaha gas tank off of an H1. It's wicked. Got superbike bars on it. It's just that I stopped working on it. I got the motor and the crank, but I need new jugs for it. I had to have the crank rebuilt, and there's not too many people that can work on two strokes anymore. So I'd have to fucking do that crank myself, put new bearings on it. It's a crank that comes apart, but you need special dies to press everything together. So I kind of hit a dead end. If I could get my hands on a crank, then I can. But the thing is finding fucking parts for the 71 or 72 RD350 is hard now.
You could probably get your hands on a crank somehow. That sounded dirty.
I had to get expansion.
He didn't pick up on that.
No, I don't even know what you're talking about. That was just some girl talk about a dick or something. But I gotta get.
You're no fun, Tom.
I gotta get expansion chambers for it. The exhaust or expansion chambers on two-stroke. That level of fucking two-stroke, you need expansion chambers. They don't really make those anymore, so you have to find them. All right. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to two-strokes. A chainsaw engine today is a two-stroke engine. Back in the 70s, they had two-stroke technologies. Instead of a four-stroke engine, it gave you twice the power of a four-stroke and much less weight. But they kind of banned them for emissions problems because you have to mix fuel in. You have to mix oil into your fuel. That's how you lubricate your rings and shit. So wherever you're going, you're leaving behind you a fucking trail of fucking blue smoke, and it sounds like a fucking swarm of bees. That's the way the thing sounds. They sound wicked and fucking leave smoke behind. And I never had a two-stroke. That's what they sound like when they're idling. They're just wicked little things.
Just love to live next door to those people.
Oh, and make everybody mad. Yeah.
Gramthars says Evil Knievel's son Robbie passed away today.
Damn.
He had a few hard landings back in the day. Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, he said, I remember when he jumped the Grand Canyon on a dirt bike. Yeah, shit. Great impression, Tom. Yeah. He's making all the fucking sound effects. I can't believe he didn't pick up on like the getting hold of a crack joke. Man, I'm disappointed. Wait, what? Lisa Marie Presley died too? Really? Like, really? Or is that a hoax? Because I know there's every time a celebrity dies, they're just like, oh, never mind. 90% of the time, they're just like, no, that's just like a fucking, you know, that was just like a hoax. But she really? How? Like, she wasn't that old, though, right? I mean, relatively. I kind of feel like she wasn't that old. 54. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. That is fucked up. Yeah, I didn't even totally see that. See, that's the thing. I know I seem like I'm really out of it and stuff, but it's just kind of like, I don't hear about stuff because it's just like, I get up and then it's just like, I'm always kind of working and I'm just like, every now and then, like, I'll see a headline and be like, oh, that's fucked up or whatever. But usually I'm like working on something, so I don't usually read news until like later on, or I'll kind of like aggregate stuff like at the end of the week and read stuff up. So I don't really like see stuff as it happens necessarily. But man, she's only 4 years older than me. Oh, that's yeah, I'm just gonna try and not think about that too hard. Holy shit. That's a bummer. Lisa Marie Presley died.
Yeah, no.
54.
Yeah.
Well, was it like sudden, or did they know it was
They don't know.
probably
Something drug related.
No, they said cardiac arrest.
Yeah, that might be coded language.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm going to show you guys the bikes. I got some videos of the bikes. I'll show you the little Honda.
John Smith said, I took up biking 2 years ago, just after I turned 40. Coincidence? Yeah. Zach says, then again, Kim Jong-un had a heart attack at like 30-something. So, yeah, some people do. It's like, but...
All right. That's the Honda CT.
Yeah,
it only weighs 50 pounds. That's our old house.
That's in front of the old house, yeah.
Yeah. I was still doing wiring at that time. I was talking about the gas tanks. That's a fun bike to build. I built that in the house.
Yeah, because, like, you know, it's really small.
Yeah. Aluminum wheels, dual disc front. You can put up you can hit the brakes so hard that it will do an endo. I've rolled that bike and then caught it coming up the driveway. I could easily win a competition with that. Just in beauty alone.
Yeah, I mean, you did a really nice paint job on that.
Yeah. That's a wicked little beast.
He just brought it back. He went to visit his dad, and like his dad gave it to him, and it was kind of, it looked okay when he brought it back. It was kind of like junky looking when he brought it back, but yeah, he fixed it all up and painted it. You put new seat on it. You put all that new shit on it. Yeah,
you guys don't realize how little that is. That comes up to my knee.
It's very small.
You can pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a little munchkin,
little mini bike.
Little munchkin bike.
Yeah. It's not chrome, it's polished aluminum rims. It only weighs 45 pounds. And I was talking about putting probably maybe like a GPS speedo, but then I just blacked that out because there's no reason for a speedometer. It doesn't go fast enough to worry about speedometer. It's not like you're going to fucking...
You're not going to get a ticket.
Yes. You're going to go 70, that's it. Maybe hit 70. Okay.
Tom Sykes says the main green sewing machine. Yeah.
No, it's a 4-stroke. It actually sounds real throaty. It's like that. It sounds good.
Even though it's very, like I said, it's very small.
Yeah.
Jeffy Art said, I believe Lisa Marie's son died from suicide not that long ago. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Man, that's a fucking bummer.
That's my XB12 R with the lightning tail on it. That bike's kind of well known in the Buell scene because there's not many like that one. I got a fiberglass custom German race tail in there from Frank's Racing. That was the one that I fucking slid the front end out of it and got out of it. 112, I think 110 horsepower, 104 horsepower at the crank, I think. So you end up in the 90s. A lot of torque though. I think it's 87 or I think 87 foot-pounds of torque or something. It's a lot of torque. Fun bike. And then I got a picture of my XB9. This is back when the 9 was silver. It's now black. Has a bunch of carbon package on it. Need to back off of it so you guys can see it. Come on, back up. I was talking about something in these videos. You know how I am. I fucking run my voice. Run my mouth.
Run your mouth, yeah.
Run my mouth.
No, not you.
Yeah. And then I got a picture of I got a video of the 2-stroke. Hold on. Also got videos of Jen and the girls.
Wait, what videos are you talking about?
When we were doing the photo shoot, remember?
Oh, okay. When was... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, you still got that shit?
Yeah.
That was a while back.
Long time ago. All right. It's made a lot of progress since this time, but that's the 2-stroke I was working on.
Yeah, you've done more on it.
Oh yeah,
that was a long time.
That was a long time ago.
That's old.
That's even got the old swing arm on it and the old suspension. That's the last video I have on it though. There's Jen and the girls at the old place doing photo shoots. Look how pretty they are. Oh shit. What am I doing? What am I showing?
I don't know.
Okay. That's the photo shoot we were doing.
There's Dimitri.
Yeah.
There's me and Jen and Laura. That's Brian. That's our friend Brian. He's a photographer.
Yeah. Look at Jen's boobs. There's the cat.
There's
Beijing. What the fuck? There we go.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. How long ago was that? About 5 years, probably.
I don't remember. It was a while. It was a while back.
Yeah.
It was a while back.
That ended up on a lot of posters and stuff.
Yeah, we used a lot of those photos.
Yeah.
I was using those for years for like posters.
I miss your hair like that, Jen. Remember that?
Well, like I said, that was when the front part of look at Bunjip. She was like, I want to be in the photo shoot too. Look how pretty I am. Beijing's so cute. I think this was before we got Pookie.
Yeah, it wasn't a Pookie then.
Yeah. Pookie wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
Pookie wasn't born yet. Look, she's like stealing.
That's Laura.
I know, we were laughing because Laura was like, look.
Laura's,
like,
I'm going to lay down with a kitty.
She's like stealing the fucking spotlight there. The cat was because she was like being all glamorous. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
She knows she's pretty. Beijing does. Yeah, Zach says Beijing's all like, pay me like one of your French girls.
Yeah,
I think like I took a picture of her one time and I think I captioned it that because she was totally like,
Beijing.
I'm gorgeous.
Beijing thinks she's Paris Hilton. She walks around like she's pretty. She's like, look at me, look how pretty I am. She's very arrogant.
She is.
And she knows what pretty is.
Yeah.
So if the girls got all dressed up, she had to come out there with them all the time. You guys saw it. I got it shit recorded. She's like, I'm going to do a photo shoot too. Look how pretty
She's like, take a picture of me.
She knows all about
I'm so much prettier than these other girls.
People think that fucking humans are special over the other animals. No, man, fucking other animals.
Absolutely not.
They have they have gender. They know what ugly and they know what pretty is and they know what funny is. They do all that shit. They know what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, they understand a lot.
They understand a lot more than you think they do.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Yeah. But no, Beijing saw the girls dressed up, getting attention, and she was like, "Oh, I need attention too. Look at how pretty I am." Yeah, put me in the middle of that.
John Smith said cats are especially vain.
Yeah.
Beijing is for sure.
Oh, super vain.
Pookie is not vain.
No, not Pookie.
She's kind of more.
She's like a tomboy.
Yeah, she likes attention, but she's more like tomboyish.
She wants to wrestle.
Yeah.
Basically, wrestle and eat. And
she
wants you to be hugged. You hug her and shit, and she likes that. So, and brush. Yeah. She wants to be brushed.
Oh, she discovered, because I have her, she stole one of my brushes, so I was like, okay, this is yours now, because it's full of, like, Pookie hair. So that's in my coffee station, like, kind of on the other side of it. So for a while, she was jumping up getting that brushy.
Yeah.
But today, or yesterday rather, she jumped up in my main bathroom and found my other brush, like my wet hair brush. You know what I mean? That's a lot more like the plastic, spines or whatever. And she jumped up on there and was like, oh, this is better.
Yeah.
And she's like rubbing on that. She's like, now I want this one. So now she's going into the main bathroom and she's like, fuck that other brush. Yeah. I want this brush. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess we have to switch the brushes out again because she wants that one. I had to stand there for like fucking half an hour and brush her.
Yeah.
She just like stayed there and kept yelling every time I wanted to walk away. You know what I mean?
No, I think guys are saying my bikes are sweet. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, it's not just all us doing these fucking shows. We got other shit we do too, which is cool. I think a lot of YouTubers and people that have the shows, that's all they do is the show. That would drive me fucking crazy. It's driving her crazy. I got to get her out of here. That's all she does.
The thing about it is that, I don't know. I think about this a lot because, like I said, I kind of feel like, the show is cool and everything like that, but I just feel like I feel like we don't have a lot of focus, but I kind of feel like that's because I don't have a lot of focus because there's like a million things that I like and there's a million things that I want to incorporate, and I always like every time like a new thing comes up, I'm like, ooh, that's like a cool idea. Let's do that, or that's a cool, you know what I mean? It's like anybody that's like a creative person. Yeah. Your mind is just going like a million miles a minute. You can come up with
a really good idea, but then you realize logistically, what is it going to take to get that done? And
that's what I mean.
You're like, oh shit, man.
Because I think of shit all the time. And I'm like, I love this idea, like, but realistically, like, how long would it take me to do it? Like, would it be worth the effort? Would it this, that? So you really have to kind of like.
There's not enough hours in the fucking work week, or even in just a living week to execute some of the shit that we come up with.
Yeah, because I come up with shit like literally every day.
Yeah, and you're like, well, shit, that's a full-time job. The show would just be that.
Right.
You know. What time is it?
It's not even 7. It's almost 7.
Get another drink.
Yeah, we got loads of time before we have to go. I mean, it's just kind of like, I don't know. I was thinking that today because, I don't know. I'm just one of those people. It's like there's a million things that I like to do, and there's a million things that I'm interested in. And that's good. I don't want to stop being like that. But in some ways, too, it's like I feel like I don't have a lot of focus. You know what I mean? Because I don't like to get just like, I love horror movies and I love true crime and stuff like that. But I would be really upset, like, if the show just had to be one thing. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like that's why the show is just so fucking all over the place, because I'm interested in so many things. We're interested in so many things. We like so many things that it's like, well, we want to talk about this and we want to talk about that. Like, if I had to talk about the same thing all the time, I'd probably go nuts. But, well, even more than I already am. But I don't know. Like, in some ways, I think that hurts us because we're not known for one thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not just, known for horror movies or known for true crime or known for paranormal or whatever. And so I do feel like, I don't know. It's like I said, it's been something that, especially like in the last couple years, since we've had, Patreon going down and like ad revenue going down and stuff like that. I'm just like, well, maybe we should just decide on one and like focus on one thing. But it's like, then it's like, I don't know if I want to do that. And it's like, even if I could do that, what's the one thing I would focus on? Because then I would just be like, oh, well, I want to do this other shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like today I was thinking about like some other project I want to do, as if I don't already have enough. Like sometimes, well, the thing about it is that what I've started doing, like now that I'm old and like have a more realistic outlook on things, I come up with an idea and I'm just like, okay, I love this idea today. I'm going to write it down. I write a paragraph. It's like, I had this idea or blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Thank you, Jeffy Art. Happy Friday, guys. Jenny, thanks for the heads up on Martyrs via your review on Scare Salon. I'm telling everyone I know about your other channels. I know exactly what it's like being creatively ADHD. Yeah, it's a lot. But like I said, I get really enthusiastic about things. I'm like, ooh, that's so awesome. It's like, I want to like look into that, or I want to look into doing this and stuff like that. But I realize that's probably not good from a money-making standpoint because, like I said, nobody, I'm not focused on one thing. But so what I'll do, it's like I'll have like a really cool idea. It's like I had an idea to do this, that, and the other thing. I'll write it down in a paragraph and I'll keep it in my calendar thing. And I'm like, and I'll just keep revisiting it because I'll see it every day. Because I have a thing where I have like a little file where I'm just like, what are we doing today? I need to do this video. I need to do this, that, and the other thing. So I just have it at the bottom of that. And then like after a while, like after a few weeks, I revisit. I'm like, do I still want to do that? Is it worth the effort that it'll take to do it? Like how much effort realistically is it going to take to do it? So I don't know. It's like, and if I still want to do it, like after a couple months or something, then I'll kind of start putting it on the schedule and like do that. So, well, what are you doing?
See if it's still looking good. I'm just fucking
Oh,
around.
so I'm talking and like you had to take all the attention away.
I just fucking around.
Okay.
I just fucking around.
Okay,
No,
everyone pay attention to Tom.
I left the drinks outside.
Because Jenny can't talk about anything. You have to come in and like show your fucking abs or whatever. Richard Brown said variety is the spice of life. Yeah, I've just really got, like I said, everything that I'm into, it's all like dark shit. You know what I mean? It's always like crime shit or, you know, horror shit or art shit or something like that. So it's not like I'm just all over the place. But
Jeffy gave us some money.
I know.
Okay, what's he saying?
He said, happy Friday, guys. He said, Jenny, thanks for the heads up on Martyrs via your review on Scare Salon. I'm telling everyone I know about your other channels. I know exactly what it's like being creatively ADHD. Yeah, like I said in my video, if you haven't watched it yet, I put up a video about Martyrs today. I have been wanting to do a video on that movie for a really long time because this is a movie that I've been wanting to watch for a really long time, but I was like, I don't know if I'd necessarily say I was scared to. But I was just kind of always like, man, everybody talks about how fucked up this movie is, and I really had to be like in the right headspace to watch it because it's like I know that this is going to be like hard to watch and it's going to bum me out, but I still wanted to watch it. You know what I mean? But I'm glad I watched it. But like I said, if you're just like casually into horror or something like that, don't watch that shit because you're not going to be able to get it out of your brain. But I don't know. I thought it was great. I thought it was like magnificent, but yeah, it's a trial. It's excruciating. Like to watch it, excruciating.
See, I had to fix that. That busted off. I got a piece of a credit card back there. I glued it in. Piece of an old credit card, you know.
Yeah. So. Victor says Martyrs literally gave me a nightmare after I watched it. I could see that. And then John Smith said the U.S. remake of Martyrs is frankly shit. That's what I heard. Like, I was thinking about watching it because I was like, well, maybe I should watch it just so I could get a perspective. But literally, like, every other review I read, like, don't even bother. So I was like, okay, well, that's probably like an hour and a half I'll never get back. So it's like, I probably shouldn't bother. So that was just... But yeah, I mean, it's a fucked up movie. It's not the most fucked up movie I've ever seen. I don't even know what the most fucked up movie I've ever seen is. I've seen a lot of fucked up movies. But it's pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up. And it's not fucked up, like if you haven't watched the review, it's not fucked up in the way that it's like, oh my god, it's so gory or anything like that. It's just, the idea of it is fucked up and like the violence in it is really realistic and is fucked up. You know what I mean? Mm. So. John Smith said the US remake has a happy ending. What the fuck? No. Come on. That makes sense. I mean, what? Okay. Anytime, let's talk about this, because anytime like some badass foreign, quote unquote, horror movie comes out and everybody in the horror community is abuzz about it, all the American companies are like, oh, we should do an American remake of that for American audiences. And then they always completely castrate it. Well, we need to give it a happy ending, and we need to like, lighten up on the gore and the violence. So it's like they do that every single time. I don't think I've ever seen an American remake that was, gorier or more violent or anything like that than the European or Asian counterpart. The only one that I've ever seen, and I don't know if this is the only one, but one of the few that I've ever seen that I thought the American remake was better than the Asian one, and please don't come at me, was The Ring. I liked the American, the Gore Verbinski one, Ring, better than Ringu, the Japanese one, which is good, but I think the American one was scarier. But that's the only time, I think that's the only time that I can think of that. I've seen some where the American remake was almost as good as, but 99.99% of the time, the original, the foreign, is always better. It's always more fucked up. It always, because they're not afraid to like go there. They'll make it totally, because look at Martyrs, for Christ's sake. He's like, the guy that wrote and directed it, he's like, yeah, I was like in a pretty fucked up place in my life at the time. I was like pretty much suicidal. And I was like, yeah, it shows in the movie. This is one of the most nihilistic movies I've ever seen. It's super fucked up. And I kind of feel like the American remake was not going to do that. Like, because people can't handle it over here, I guess. But the thing about it is that American horror fans, they can handle that kind of shit because they're watching the foreign version. I don't really understand who the American version is for. Who is that for?
I understand it. The people that are in these studios are always trying to make a big hit. So they try to take anything that was a good and make it more mainstream. We'll get more asses in the seats. So we do this. We're gonna make it PG, and it fucks the fucking.
And it's
movie
like why? It's like no, like horror fans aren't gonna go see it because it's like, look, we already saw the original and that was like a million times better. So why would we bother with that? Like they're gonna get all the 14-year-olds.
They're just looking at demographics and numbers, and they're going, "This should work a lot better," and they're full of shit. That's why, really, man, when it comes to American cinema, for the most part, indie films. That's really where you want to be now. Some of these little small studios. What's that one? A24?
Yeah.
That's a smaller studio. They're hit or miss, but they're all at least originals, man. They're fucking. They're
like I said, I will give any props to anybody that is like willing to. They're like, we're just gonna make some weird shit.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit.
At least got a little bit of heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, some of the big studios, it's just schlock. And that was really the standard, man. People are going, well, Hollywood used to be good. No, it wasn't. Hollywood, for the most part, wasn't any good. Well,
because
mostly
they're
schlock.
Because they're trying to appeal to the widest, the broadest swath of people. And whenever you do that, it's not going to be. I'm not going to say that necessarily means it's bad, because I've seen some stuff that was like big blockbusters and stuff, and they were good. Yeah. But I kind of feel like the more people you try to appeal to, the broader spectrum of the people you try to appeal to, like the less quality it's going to be.
You see, Hollywood sucked when I was a little kid, but it got revived with a fucking series of a bunch of really good movies that came out, and it was basically Lucas and Spielberg helped fucking revive Hollywood, and those were indie guys, The studios really didn't want to deal with those dudes, but they kind of had to, because you're not going to be doing real well in the 1980s with a bunch of fucking 60s and 70s fucking cop flicks, which that's really what Hollywood made, cop flicks, And a lot of that was on the back of Bullet. Bullet was a great cop flick.
Yeah, but the thing about
that was like an indie flick.
Was that 70s cop flicks and all those kind of like political thrillers and stuff like that were fucking great.
They were great.
They were great.
But they were kind of like the exception of the 70s. That wasn't normal for the 70s. Normal for the 70s was just schlock. Fucking. Now, Nicolas Cage, he's done some fucking cool shit, because he'll do anything for money. You know how he is.
I'm excited about Renfield. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, some fucking Conor Vatslan also.
Looks awesome.
Conor Vatslan sent me a trailer for a new Western that Cage is going to be in. It's a revenge flick, and it's this old fucking burned out gunfighter, kind of like Unforgiven, okay? And he's got his daughter with him. He's trying to protect his daughter from some people that are trying to, I guess, bring him in for a bounty. And it looked really good. I don't remember the name of it, but I just saw the trailer today. And
Nicolas Cage is in some awesome movies. Yeah. Look
he
at
never
Pig.
Follows it. Even Pig. Pig was weird as shit.
That was awesome. I loved that movie.
It was kind of like the anti-John. It was kind of the anti-John Wick.
It was so good.
You think it's going to be John Wick. It never happens, though. Okay? But it's kind of like...
I was really into that movie. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought it was really good.
Well, I would say Mandy.
Well, yeah, but see, that was weird as shit, too.
Yeah. Mandy was good. Color Out of Space I thought was pretty good. I want to see that again.
Yeah.
Color Out of Space. I thought it was pretty good. Other people didn't think it worked. I thought it did work.
It wasn't like... I liked it, but I kind of wish it had been like a little bit better. But other than that, like, I don't know. I really liked it.
Fights the animatronic fucking robots.
Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland. He didn't say a word in it. That was a badass flick.
Yeah, I liked that movie too.
Yeah, that was really good. But no, Cage is sometimes Cage is always on. All right, he's even on in some shitty flicks that we saw.
Well, because he knows that's what you hire him for.
Yeah.
You hire him for Nicolas Cage, the whole package.
Recently, he did like a Predator ripoff. All right, he was the best part in it, but that movie sucked. It lacked soul. But the new Western that's coming out looks really good. The Renfield looks pretty good. It looks good too.
And Nicholas Hoult is in that too.
Cage.
Like I'm kind of into that because I love Nicholas.
Cage brings it, man. He fucking brings it. You know, as long as he's on a good project, you're gonna have a good time. Yeah. He's a good entertainer, and he can act.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes that like pretty much anything. And I feel like a lot of people are like this. If you heard, it's like, oh, Nicolas Cage is in it. Okay, we'll go see that shit. We'll go see that shit. We'll go see. Like it could be like really, really awesome, or it just might be like what?
Yeah, it might suck, or it might suck, but mostly it's pretty good.
Yeah. Like it's always he's always worth watching. Yeah. He's always worth watching.
Now there was a couple other ones that stood out in recent years. That VFW. It was like a Carpenter ripoff. That was a great movie. I liked it.
I liked
that one. My friend did sound for that when I went to school with. I didn't know though. I liked it before, and he goes, "Oh no, I did sound for that."
Yeah, that was good. It was kind of like Attack on Precinct 13.
Yeah, it was a lot.
But like in a VFW bar, and with a new retro wave.
And these are smaller films, man. These are smaller indie films, but they got soul. You know,
I will always give like I said, I'm not gonna shit on anything. Like I'll watch anything if it sounds good and everybody says it's good. It's like I'll watch it, but I'm kind of always gonna be like more. I'm more a person that's like, this is my personal vision. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm interested to see that. I want to see I don't want to see like a movie that was made by committee, or it's like we're trying to please everybody or something. I don't really want to see that shit because it's usually like really boring. I want to see like one quirky ass person and they're like, this is my weird ass shit that I came up with. And I'm just like, okay, show me that.
Yeah, if it's good, I'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
Some of the folk horror was really good, man. Midsummer. I really liked that one. It was in the same vein as that other one Jenny likes. I didn't really like that one as much, but I saw
Hereditary.
Hereditary.
Well, yeah, it's the same director, Ari Aster.
On the second viewing of Hereditary, I liked it better than I liked it the first time.
Hereditary was so good. Yeah. Midsummer was good too.
I think I like Midsummer.
And that's legit. But I'm just saying, I liked Hereditary a little bit better, but they were both awesome.
Midsummer reminded me so much of The Wicker Man.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I could get into this flick. This is fucking awesome.
Well, I like folk horror.
Yeah.
There's not enough of it. No. Although I will say, if you have Shudder, I don't know if it's still on there, but there's a great fucking documentary on there. Hopefully it's still on there because it's a really good documentary. And it's called, what the fuck is it called? Forest Dark. Oh, shit. Yeah. It has like a cool title. But it's like 3.5 hours long, and it's all about folk horror, and it's really, really good. I watched that whole shit, and I kind of want to watch it again, to be honest.
What was the name of that little chick from fucking Midsummer?
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like her. She's cute.
Yeah.
And she did another movie.
Man, she's having a moment these last few years. She's been in a ton of movies.
Yeah. Are they good?
Mostly, yeah. I kind of feel like she's been in a lot of stuff. Wasn't she in that one that just came out called Don't Worry, Darling? I remember seeing the trailers for that.
I like her. She's little. She's got a cute head. She's got this little big kind of head on her.
Tom likes Florence Pugh's head. Like the shape of her head.
She's just really cute, yeah. And she was in another movie that I fucking loved. It was called Fighting with My Family. Where it's kind of
that was so fun. I really liked that.
Paige, the wrestler, pro wrestler. And it's a good Florida movie, man. And they're doing shit places where me and Jen hang out. We're like, hey, that's right. So we passed that place on the fucking going to the club all the time, and it's just like a really good Florida movie.
Because a lot of it's set in Orlando.
Yeah, a lot of it's set in Orlando. They was doing the fucking WWE and shit here, and it's about a girl, Paige. That was her wrestling name. She was from England, and she came here to become a wrestler, and her whole story. It's a movie I really recommend. Fighting with My Family. We saw it in the theater, I think, twice.
A couple times, yeah.
And then I got it on Blu-ray.
I liked it so much better than I mean, I thought I was going to like it, but it's like when I saw it, I was like, it's delightful. It's a delightful movie.
Yeah, it's fun. And the Blu-ray, they have an extended cut in it, which is good, too. The edit is still... Have you seen the extended edit yet?
I thought we watched it. Didn't we not?
I don't think you've seen the extended.
I don't remember. Unless you watched it by yourself one day.
I've watched it by myself, and there's more in it. I think about 10 minutes more, 10, 15 minutes more. It's good. It's still an enjoyable movie. The other Florida movie was the fucking crime movie that fucking...
Yeah, Pain and Gain, I know.
What's it? Pain and Gain. And that was a mainstream flick. Okay?
That's what I mean. That's why I don't really like...
It was done real well, man.
Right.
It was done real well. You can't just say the big studios suck. They just mostly suck. Every now and then, accidentally a good one gets out.
And to be honest, too, sometimes some indie movies also suck.
Yeah, well, a lot of indie movies suck.
You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. You can't just like judge.
Right.
If the premise of a movie sounds cool, then just watch it. Like, it doesn't matter if it cost like $100 million or like $50,000. It's like, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. Yeah. You know.
One of our subscribers, Louis Hernandez, he might even be a patron. I'm not sure. Is Louis a patron? He's basically a patron because he sends us.
He sends us stuff all the time.
That's the same as being a patron. He sends me movies all the time. And they've all been excellent. He's got excellent taste in movies. So I know if it's coming from Louis, I'm going to like it. He sent me Collateral, fucking just a shit ton of fucking good movies. One of them was Pain and Gain. He's got good
I thought
taste.
Sophie sent us that.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Pain and Gain came from Louis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he goes, oh, you'll like this one. And it's an all-star cast. And
yeah, that was like right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, and then the same director as Transformers, Transformers, or was it Transformers Pacific Rim? What else did he
I thought Michael Bay did Transformers.
Yeah, that was a Michael Bay movie.
Was it?
It was. I'm pretty sure it was a Michael Bay movie.
See, it was his.
It was a mainstream as fuck, but it was like that was his version of an indie flick. And it was a true crime story.
See, he can make good movies when he wants to.
Yeah,
it's not just 2 hours of shit exploding.
True crime story about some dude that was a fitness trainer and on all these steroids, and they fucking committed this crime with these dudes from the gym. They dressed up as a ninjas to do it.
And
it's
I mean,
it
was based on a real story.
It actually happened.
That probably helps.
And The Rock's in it. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's in it. He's a Bible-thumping Christian bodybuilder.
The Rock is so good in it.
It's great. It's got Mark Wahlberg. He's the fucking main dude who fucking plans the crime and shit.
It's something.
It's great.
And like I said, it's based on a real.
Yeah.
Did we do a show about the real case behind
We
that?
need to if we did, because that fucking story is Florida as fuck. That was the genesis of Florida Man.
I kind of feel like people would watch that movie and be like, man, like you can't make that shit up.
No,
but
right,
a lot of it was based on real shit. That's what really happened. I'm kind of behind with the comments. Okay. Jeffy Art said, European and Asian cinema tends to take art to more of an expressive route. I agree with Tom. Hollywood treats film as simply a commodity. Yeah, I kind of feel like that's why you get a lot of better, and even like it's, I'm a horror girl, so like in the horror community, most people are like, we want to see like the foreign movies because they actually see horror, they actually see film as like an art form, and they're not really worried necessarily about the movie making. I mean, it's nice if it makes a lot of money, sure, but that's not like their primary concern. And I'm not shitting on people like Blumhouse, for example, because they, they make kind of movies for a more mainstream audience. A lot of them are PG-13 and stuff, but I've seen some of those that were actually pretty good.
No, Blumhouse can do good shit.
Yeah, so some of those are pretty good, but I'm not just saying, but like I said, if you want to see something that's like film as art, then that's probably not the route you want to go. Jeffy Art said, my old bosses always kept telling us to create to cater to the masses. Blech. No thanks. I know...
It depends. It can be done.
It can be done.
All right. Spielberg and Lucas, when they first came out, they were catering to the masses, but they did that shit from the indie fucking point of view. Think of the shit that they were doing. Fucking Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Jaws. Fucking Star Wars. Even though that was an indie film. But then, fucking Raiders of the Lost Ark. That was mainstream shit, man.
Yeah.
But it just had a fucking classic, and it holds up to this day. It has a classic feel. Because it was classic back then. A lot of that shit harkened back to the 1940s, is what they were doing. With Star Wars and Indiana Jones and... and there was just something weird magic about fucking Jaws and a weird magic about Close Encounters. The thing is, though, is that Hollywood tried to go that route for a long, long time. Directors have a half-life. You got to keep recruiting new blood into the system to keep that going. And you did have some new ones. Fucking Carpenter, okay, kind of came in. But for some reason, they wouldn't really let him fly. And E.T. kicking the shit out of the Thing. It didn't make any fucking sense. I mean, E.T. was a great flick, but they fucking shat on fucking the Thing. And I think Carpenter was never really the same after that.
You know, the weird thing about it is, like, E.T. and The Thing are, like, two completely different...
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're both about aliens, but that's about the only thing they have in common, to be honest.
They openly disrespected The Thing, though. They openly
did.
They
That's
openly
what I
were like,
mean.
no, we can't have that. That's terrible. No, it wasn't. Fucking The Thing was fucking an effective movie. It was great.
Still one of my favorite
it holds
movies
up to
of all
day.
time.
Right.
Thank you, El Padrino.
What do you say?
Gave us a super chat. That's
Thank you.
awesome. Like I said, I got behind, so sorry.
All right.
Guys, thank you for your content and your sense of humor. I'll do my best to contribute more in 2 weeks. Let us know when you do Godfather Part 3. I don't want to miss that discussion.
It's coming.
Yeah, I actually put it, if you're on our Patreon, I actually put it in the poll that's going up tomorrow morning. So if you want to do Godfather 3, go over there and vote for Godfather 3 in the poll, and then we'll talk about that on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, we'll watch it.
We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it eventually anyway, but we can move it to the front if you guys want. If you guys vote for it.
Yeah.
Because Godfather 2 was the shit. I think Godfather 2 was actually better than 1.
Yeah, and
boy,
1 was awesome.
1 was
Which,
yeah,
it
those
was
are
hard to top,
masterpieces,
but yeah,
right.
they did it. Richard Brown said Carpenter was always bigger in England and France. What the fuck? What are you doing,
She's trying to
Pookie?
open the door. She opened the door.
She's going in the cabinet.
Fucking, what the fuck?
I'm going in the cabinet. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. She's going to Narnia.
She's going to Narnia.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of feel like, yeah, a lot of American filmmakers that didn't really get their due in the U.S., I kind of feel like, yeah, they were bigger in Europe. Like,
Yeah.
Europeans, like, appreciated them
Yeah.
more than... Well, like I said, there's always been more of a tradition, particularly in Europe, of film as an art form. I kind of feel like they don't... I'm not saying they don't have that in the United States. I'm just saying that it's not... I don't know. I just kind of feel like the American film industry has always been way more money...
I think a lot of it had to do with the studios not wanting competition. And if they didn't fucking put their mark on you and you weren't in their studio and in their clique, then they were going to shit on you through the rest of the media that they also basically owned. So they didn't like Carpenter. They didn't want Carpenter to succeed. He did, though, even in the face of all that. He made some fucking great B movies that were just
and people were
super
still
good.
talking about him this many years
Escape
later.
from New York. One of the best B movies ever made. And that's not really an action movie, but kind of made you think it was an action movie. There was just, he did a lot of weird stuff. The Thing. Fucking...
Can I stand up for Christine?
Christine.
And the Dead Zone?
Dead Zone. That's right, yeah.
Or no, Dead Zone was Cronenberg.
That's
sorry.
Cronenberg. Excuse me. But he did Christine.
Christine
was one of his fucking higher budget movies from that area. That was like a very mainstream. You stop it.
What did she do?
She threw that box out of there. She threw that box. You're in trouble. Now she's going back to see what that was.
It's okay, Pokey.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you expect?
Sit down. Down. Sit down.
She's like, no, I'm not.
She's
going
blowing me off. I hate that. I just try to sound powerful.
I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, there was some kind of little wrench.
Oh. Because I have like some tools and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's tools. A Wi-Fi range extender.
Oh, that's the
She
box
threw
from
out.
that, yeah. Holy Parish of Doom said Starman is really good too. Yeah, you know what? I've been wanting to revisit that. We should probably do a review of that at some point because I haven't seen it in a very long time. And I kind of feel like, but yeah, I always do like to kind of give a shout out to Christine because I feel like a lot of people forget that John Carpenter directed that. And I think that's one of his better movies. And people don't talk about it all that much. You know what I mean? So, let's see. Where was I? Arnie Cunningham. Yeah. Why doesn't it say Cunningham? I saw fucking Christine so many times. So many times. It was on... When did that come out? 83. And it seemed like it was on HBO or Cinemax or whatever all the fucking time. I saw it so many times. And goddamn, it's just so good. It's just like a good adaptation. It's not a lot different from the book. Like they did change some shit up, but I don't know. I just, everything in the, like, all the cast, everything like that, it just worked for me. You know, I don't know. I just thought it was a really good Stephen King adaptation, and I feel like a lot of people forget about it. El Padrino is like talking about Assault from Precinct 13. We did a review of that not too long ago. Prince of Darkness, I'm ambivalent about Prince of Darkness. Like, I feel like it's a really, really cool idea, and there's like some really, really creepy scenes in it, but I don't think it was 100% successful.
What are you talking about?
Prince of Darkness.
Yeah, Prince of Darkness was kind of...
So I'm kind of like, I don't know, I'm a little bit on the fence about that one.
That one was what I would call spumoni. You know what spumoni is?
Yeah, I know
it's an Italian ice cream. It's got everything in it. It's got pistachio, fucking strawberry, vanilla, and fucking chocolate, and nuts, and fucking maraschino cherry. It's just too fucking much. And none of that shit went together. That's what that movie was like. You didn't notice that?
Yeah.
None of that shit was fucking coherent. He was just trying
That's
to do
what I mean.
random shit.
Well, I kind of feel like it was a good idea.
Yeah.
I liked the concept of it, but it didn't really cohere.
No, it didn't gel.
It didn't cohere.
It didn't gel.
But it's still a good movie. It's still worth watching.
I don't think Spumoni's any good either.
I don't know if I've ever had it.
Yeah.
I know what it is, but I don't think I've ever had
That's
it.
their version of Neapolitan. The Italian version of Neapolitan ice cream is too fucking much. It's too much fucking shit. Although I guess you could say that a banana split is kind of like that, but
well, I wouldn't eat that because fuck bananas.
yeah, well,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
I don't like bananas.
fuck the banana.
El Padrino said, "Was Near Dark a good movie?" I don't remember it. Yes, Near Dark was an awesome movie. That was like the vampire one with like.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. We did a review of it not too long ago.
Yeah.
Remember, with Bill Paxton in it, the vampire movie, and they were kind of like they were the group, and they were like in the
yeah. That was pretty good. I like that one. That was
That's on Shudder at the moment. It was hard to get hold of.
Yeah,
but
Near Dark. So that's Carpenter too, wasn't it?
No, that's Catherine Bigelow.
Oh, okay. But they were running around in the damn van with the fucking windows closed.
Yeah, and they had the kid, the vampire, and
They have a whole vampire in the fucking honky tonk bar scene out in the middle of fucking Southwest. That was a good movie. They had the dude from Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen.
Lance Henriksen was in it. That was actually a good movie. You'd like that, El Padrino.
Yeah. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Stuart Patterson gave us a super chat. Missed this. Last year nearly killed me. Reclused myself from everything. Never mind. Got plenty. Stella. Yeah. Dude, that's good.
Stella?
Yeah. You guys and a bunch of names I remember. Love you all. Aw.
Thank you.
We remember you. We remember you. We're glad you returned. Yeah, Mango said Near Dark is amazing. It is.
I enjoyed it.
Near Dark is really good.
The thing is, I only saw, like, the first time I saw Near Dark was with Jenny, just like
because I told you I was like, because we did a review of it like not too long ago.
So I didn't grow up with that one. I must have been in the Army when that came out. What year was that?
When did Near Dark come out? Late 80s or early 90s?
Okay, I could have been in the Army, or getting ready to go in the Army. I didn't, but I would have liked it. I just didn't see it. I didn't see the Hitcher or the Hitchhiker. What's it called?
Hitcher.
The Hitcher. I didn't see the Hitcher.
86. That came
86.
out.
I didn't see it until much later.
Yeah, because we did a review of that too. Because I was like, oh my god, you got to see the Hitcher. The Hitcher is so fucking good.
It's pretty good. I wish I would have seen it back then. Had I seen it back then, it made a bigger impression.
Man, you get to see Jennifer Jason Leigh pulled apart, like pulled in half by two trucks.
Yeah.
So you know.
Well, what's his name was fucking awesome through it. You know?
Yeah.
What's his name? Dude from Blade Runner.
Shit, now you made me forget.
Now made you forget. Yeah.
Now you made me forget.
Yeah. Foreign guy.
I almost
dude that paid Roy.
I know.
What was that dude's name? You guys know who we're talking about.
I know. I almost said Dolph Lundgren, and I'm no, that's a totally different dude. Rucker Howard.
Rucker Howard, that's what you.
Thank you.
Rucker.
Getting old sucks, you guys. Oh my god.
Rucker was cool, man, but he let himself go. He started to gain a bunch of weight and shit. I guess he would just sit around drinking beer or something, and they didn't know.
He was probably like, fuck it.
They didn't know about They didn't know about HRT back then. Only certain dudes knew. But that shit was ultra experimental. So a lot of those guys aged out faster than they really should have. Which is sad because fucking some of those guys disappeared when there was a lot left. There was a lot of mileage in them had they been, you know what I mean, our generation. People are not aging as quickly as they used to.
Mango says better than Lost Boys, which came out the same year, 1987. Yeah, that's right. Like I loved Lost Boys.
There's just the soundtrack, man, alone. Fucking Lost Boys is good, yeah.
I mean, that Echo and the Bunnymen cover of "People Are Strange" is is pretty iconic. But you know,
I'd say I put them right there with each other. They're
yeah. I mean, there's
Lost
kind
Boys
of
is
two
higher budget.
Yeah, they're both vampire movies, but they're
Lost
kind of
Boys higher
coming at
budget.
it from like a slightly different angle, so that's okay.
Richard
Brown said, "Have you seen the Sean Bean Hitcher?" I have not. I've heard that it was like pretty good, and I do like Sean Bean, so I mean, I'll probably watch it at some point.
Somebody sent me a Crussell flick. I don't remember if that was Rob Levinson. It was the one where it was like one of Crussell's best movies, where his wife gets abducted by some dudes that are
Was that Breakdown?
Breakdown. Weren't they cannibals?
Wait,
or were they just murdering people? I gotta see it again. I thought they were eating.
See, I don't know if you're confusing it with Hills Have Eyes though, because it's been a while since
it wasn't that. I know that they were abducting people. I thought they might have been eating them too, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. I got to see that one again. That was Breakdown. Breakdown was a good flick. Yeah. I liked it, and that was fucking Crussell playing an everyman, trying to fucking save his family. I got to see it again though. I have it.
We did a review of it. Well, it was probably like a couple years ago because I think we were still at the old house.
I liked it. It was like a movie from its time. But it would have been awesome to see it in those days. I didn't see it in those days.
Well, it was kind of like it was in the same subgenre as like The Hitcher or like Duel.
Yeah, like Duel.
Or something like that. Yeah. Or what's that one from Australia? Road Games.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got to see that one again.
Yeah.
I forgot who sent it to me. Somebody sent it to me.
Mango said, if I recall right, it was slave trading and Breakdown. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I didn't think they were cannibals. I thought like you were thinking of like Hills Have Eyes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was sex slaves or something, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I got to see it again. And they were a bunch of normal farmer-looking people. That had trucks.
Well, see, they're always normal looking.
We're doing it.
Like, you know, I don't know why people expect serial killers and stuff like that to look like monsters or something. They just, like Wednesday said in the original Addams Family movie, she's a serial killer. They look like everyone else. Mm-hmm. That's how they get away with it. Yeah, Road Games is from Australia. Yeah, I think we reviewed that one as well. Even though wasn't Jamie Lee Curtis in that? I kind of want to feel like Jamie Lee Curtis was in that. But it was a similar kind of thing where it's like, you know, somebody stalking you on the highway type situation. So there's like a whole subgenre of movies like that. El Padrino said, please do a video review of Vice Squad with Wings Hauser. That is some funny shit. Okay.
I don't know that one.
Let me write that down. I don't think I've ever seen that. Thank you, Gadgy3. Hey, can post as Gadgy now. Apple is weird. Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to write... What did I say? Vice Squad. Okay. I'm trying to write stuff down. All right. You talk for a second because I'm going to
No, run commercials.
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
We got to run commercials.
You going to run commercials?
Run the commercials.
You're not going to talk?
We got to do commercials, people. If we don't, we'll never do the commercials. Jenny goes, no, just talk. And then it'd be too late. And she goes, no, it's too late to run the run commercials. Plug. We got to.
You were gonna say run commercials, bitch. You were gonna say
no. I said plug some shit. Run commercials, bitch.
I thought that's what you were gonna. All right, so we'll be back in just a second. Right. I'm gonna run to the bathroom, so we're gonna play some commercials here. Here we go.
clock went out with that the last of the gang, and the flames of the tripods expired, and darkness and decay and the Red Death held illimitable dominion over all.
All right, we are back.
Yeah.
We've both been.
That's cool that we got the commercials in finally. Got all these fucking beautiful. Jenny makes all this fucking beautiful commercials and writes all these fucking great books, and she never plugs them.
Well,
she never plugs them.
It's
I'm gonna
hard
make sure
it's
you
hard
plug
to plug your own stuff.
I'm just going. We gotta plug.
I'm always just kind of like, hey, I wrote this thing.
Well,
I wrote this thing.
She just tries to fucking survive off of
Amazon
reviews.
It's probably pretty good.
Just off of Amazon reviews. No, plug the shit. Plug it. No, I'm proud of her material. She writes good shit. She makes really great graphic designs of commercials and shit. Fucking, it's, you know, your intros and your outros are great. You know, just.
But see,
we never talk about the shit on the shows though.
Well, the bitch of it is
some of it we talk about.
The bitch of it is that usually 95% of the time I feel like people that are creative that like really like to make things don't like to sell things. Yeah. It's just those two. Yeah. It's very rare that you find somebody that's good at both of those things, and I am absolutely not good at selling anything.
We go to horror conventions. Fucking, we'll bring a fucking bunch of books with us. I'll sell every one of those bitches. I'll sell out on them. Her shit will sell.
See, if it was like up to me, I would just be like,
sit there.
Because I'm just like,
it's hard to sell yourself.
Yeah,
it's so much easier to sell.
And
somebody
else. Because I'm not a real, I don't know. I'm not a real outgoing person. I'm not a real like, hey, look at what I did kind of person. Like I don't know. I just feel like a fraud or like a douche like doing that. So you know what I mean. So it's always easier to have somebody else do it for you. Yeah. So I don't have to like go out there and just be like, hey, I'm awesome. Because it's like, I don't know. I don't really think that. Well, because the thing too, and what I'm getting back to is that a lot of people that are like creative people, we're like the most critical about our own shit. So it's like, you know, I write a story and I'm just like, God, that's the worst fucking shit ever. Like, why? Like, other people will read it and they'll be like, oh, that's awesome. And I'm just like, no, it's not. What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you, like, just being nice to me? They don't experience
it the same way you do.
Right, and that's what I'm saying.
It's just like...
That's what I'm saying. That's why usually creative people are not good at selling their own stuff, because...
It's just like when you're acting on stage, you might fucking, because I've done this before. I was a trained actor, and did some in Trenton. I did some in Brazil. I used to love fucking singing musicals, and I was a kid then, you know, back when I was pretty. Anyway, fucking.
Back when you looked like Rick Springfield.
Back when I looked like Rick with a bullet and shit. Fucking.
When you had Jesse's girl.
When I had Jesse's girl. See, after the show, I'd be like, man, I'd be feeling bad about it. I was like, man, that was not a fucking really good performance, really. You know, it was like, but then I'd have fucking people that were from the audience fucking saying, man, that was a great show, man, you did a great job, you know. But fucking, and I was a kid, basically, and had adults that wanted to meet me and stuff, you know. Especially later on, fucking, when I was doing leads, like, you know, doing more lead roles, like it was the lead El Gallo in Fantastics, and did some other leads, did some commercials and shit. I'm kind of glad I didn't go down that path, though. Fucking, I didn't want to be an actor. Really, I liked it, but I wanted to be something real. You know, join the military and fucking having fun in that realm was a lot more my speed. And then we didn't have YouTube back then. Now that we have YouTube, I can have a mixture of everything. You know. Yeah. And I appreciate this in a different way than Jen does, because for me, this is just more like a stage performance, a live performance. And it's fun because we don't really we're the masters of our own fucking ship, you know. But what Jenny's talking about is that when she writes these books, she gets that kind of feeling that I had when sometimes I would do some shows.
I have that about every single thing. Right,
where
you're like, it's never good enough.
You're critical about your own work. If you know,
because it wasn't what I wanted.
Right, and another thing is that you're seeing it from behind the stage when you make it.
Yeah.
You're seeing it from behind the scenes, so you kind of know where the problems used to be that you fixed, and you see the seams and fucking this is where I kind of mixed two ideas together. But the person that's in front of the stage watching it doesn't know any of that.
Doesn't know all that.
So
stuff.
They don't experience all that the same way.
Like intellectually, I know that, but it's like really, really hard for me to internalize that.
You're because you knew the creative process, you knew what it was like to build it. And so you, like I said, you know what the components are, so you're more critical of it. You're seeing it like a machine,
and it never comes out the way you want it to come out. It's like really frustrating.
Right, but the audience doesn't see that. They saw it as a smooth, seamless product. They don't know where it came from. It was just an experience that they had, which that means you did your job.
That's true.
You did your job. Yeah.
Richard Brown said, "Your stories are so good, Jenny." Well, thank you. I mean, I had a good time writing them. I've written a couple novels as well, but honestly, like, short stories are kind of my more preferred medium. Particularly with horror, I kind of feel like stuff that's shorter is, like, more impactful, at least, like, to me. Like, I like reading short stories. I like novels, too. I'm not saying that, but I like short stories for horror. Like, it's better to sustain, like, the scare factor, like, over, like, a short period of time.
Jen and I met in a club under social circumstances. I was not a fan of Jen. You know what I mean? I don't know her writings. I've read some of them, but it was much later. So it's not like we hooked up like, you know, like, oh man, you know, she's a famous writer. And it didn't go that way. But everybody I know that has fucking read her stories, they don't quite look at her the same way as they used to, because her shit's hardcore, man. She's fucking graphic horror, cannibalism, weird shit, man. Fucking, it's just weird shit. She's weird. I haven't read
every. Thank you.
She's weird.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, a friend of ours read her stuff. She goes, man, it's hard to believe that's coming from you. Okay, but yeah.
My mom said that to me too.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he later on, it's like, man, I thought a man wrote that. That's what he fucking said. That's what he said. He says, fucking, I didn't know a woman would be writing like that. But fucking, that's just.
To be honest, some of the most fucked up horror that I've read was written by a woman.
Yeah.
We have all kind of ideas.
Everything I read for me kind of was like a mixture of fucking King and the dude that fucking, what was that guy who wrote all that weird sexual stuff?
Who, Clive Barker?
Clive Barker. Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like Clive Barker was
if
probably.
You like those two guys, you'd like where she writes.
I kind of feel like he was my biggest. Like, I loved Stephen King. I started reading Stephen King when I was young. Like, honestly, when I was a kid, I was a horror nerd from like birth. As soon as I was old enough to read, as soon as I was like 2 or 3 years old, all I wanted was like ghost stories and shit about witches and stuff like that. I just loved that shit from when I was a little kid. So I read Edgar Allan Poe, I read H.P. Lovecraft, I read all that stuff when I was little. And then when I got a little bit older, like, 9, 10, 11, like I started reading Stephen King. And then when I was 11 or 12 years old, I read the Books of Blood, Clive Barker. That was what made me want to be a horror writer. I said, I want to do what this motherfucker is doing.
I read one of his books, man. I fucking liked it, but I don't remember the name of it. It's about a guy. You might know who it was. About a dude who gets locked up and goes to prison. He loses his wife while he's in there, and then when he gets out, he tries to get a new job, and he works for this billionaire. It's like a groundskeeper. He's a real rich guy. And then it turns out that this rich guy was having these weird orgies and shit. And then the rich guy tried to get him involved in these weird orgies. And then it turned out it was rich people having orgies with spirits and demons. And then the spirits of animals also were in there. Where it was like a big bestiality thing that was going on, and I forgot what it was they were trying to do.
I was going to say...
They were trying to bring in some kind of like an antichrist or a messiah and get some woman pregnant by these demons. Get the animals and demons.
Was that the Damnation game?
It might have been the name of it. I don't remember the name.
Oh, what John Smith just said, the Damnation game.
Damnation game.
That was the first thing. I read that, a long time ago.
Yeah, I liked that. And she writes shit like that.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I kind of write... I don't know. I don't even know what I would call the style, to be honest. I don't know. I just kind of like get ideas and just do whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Damnation game. It's been a long time since I've read that.
I have it in here somewhere, like the paperback of it.
I read that like in 2004, maybe. I don't know when it came out, but I think I read it in 2004.
Yeah, it's been out a long time.
Okay. It was a good book.
I mean, all his shit is good. I haven't read everything, but I've read like most of his stuff. I think one of my favorite ones, I really like the Books of Blood because, like I said, I like his short stories. In the Hills, the Cities is one of my favorite short stories of all time, and I wish somebody would make a movie out of that shit. I think my favorite novel of his was maybe Weave World, which is interesting because that's kind of more fantasy, and I don't usually go in that direction, but it's like, I don't know, I just really, really liked the concept of that one. Cold Heart Canyon was actually really good too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Holy Parachute is Eyes Wide Shut meets...
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Eyes Wide Shut.
Damnation game came out... I think it came out in... I kind of feel like it came out in the 80s.
80s? Okay.
And the thing is about it, like, I really like old school, like, gothic, ambiguous horror. Like, I like old school, like, 19th century ghost stories. I'm really into that kind of stuff. I like Wilkie Collins. I like Algernon Blackwood. I like all that kind of stuff. But I also really like kind of extreme horror too. I like Clive Barker. I like shit like Edward Lee or like Douglas Clegg, or like, remember like back in the 90s when there was just this whole kind of like where everybody was just kind of like pushing the envelope and they were trying to make everything as like fucking disgusting and graphic as possible. Like, I like that kind of stuff too, but I kind of like a mixture of those two things. So it depends on like what kind of mood I'm in, I guess. But you know, I like a vast variety of things. I don't know if I have like particular favorites in horror books or horror movies or whatever. There's going to be some things that I like more than others. I don't usually like, I'm not usually into like more fantasy stuff. I'm not usually into sci-fi stuff. I'm not usually into, zombies or post-apocalypse or anything like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I wouldn't like something that was in that vein, like if it was really well done. Usually I'm into like more gothic horror or more like extreme horror, gory horror, like psychological, real fucked up kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff, but I'll read pretty much anything or I'll watch pretty much anything, you know what I mean? Like, it's just depending on what it is. If it sounds like interesting, but you know, there's some things that I'm kind of over, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to watch something that is about that, because I'll pretty much watch anything. Zach says, I like my horror more cerebral and existential. I do too, largely. But then, I mean, like I said, but it depends on my mood. Like, I'm just kind of like, today, I'm just kind of like, man, I just want to watch, you know, a bunch of zombies, like, you know, eat people's intestines today and, like, not think too hard about it. And it's like, I'll enjoy that just as much. But generally, like, most of my favorite horror movies, I feel like, are usually psychological horror or like haunted house type stuff or more ambiguous type stuff. That's usually my favorite kind of stuff.
Okay, you want the rest of this?
Yeah.
Because I can't drink any more of this. I have to drive.
That's right. But you still got a while. I mean, it's not even 8 o'clock. It's not even 8 o'clock yet.
Yeah, it's almost time to where you start getting ready in a while.
Yeah. Let's see. Richard Brown says, M.R. James, Arthur Machen. Yeah. Like, I like all of that kind of stuff. Like, all that really weird, creepy. I like all that kind of, like, gothic horror. Like, you know, all that 19th century shit, like, early 20th century shit. I love that kind of stuff.
She was writing horror fiction, but it turned out that in terms of sales on Amazon, nonfiction and crime sold better. So that was the way she started to go. And then the paranormal fucking nonfiction, I guess, you know, poltergeist case, that sold pretty good too. So she just kind of went to where the market was, but she's been wanting to get back into fiction too.
Yeah,
she likes doing that.
Well, yeah, it's more fun for me. Like, I like writing true crime. You know, I know that's a weird thing to say, but I do like writing about murders.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have kind of missed writing just horror stories where I could just make stuff up. Yeah. And I kind of really would like to get back to doing that. But I don't know. We'll see. Because it's, you know, I see other people's stuff. Like, it's like I read other people's horror. Like, I watch horror movies all the time, like, to review them and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of like, man, I really miss doing my own shit. You know what I mean? Because I used to really like to come up with fucking ideas like that. I mean, it's stressful for me, obviously, because that's just how I do, but...
Yeah, between the show and everything, though, you know, the time, that's the problem.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because it's like, yeah, I can't really justify, it's like, oh, well, I can't take, like, an entire day or entire 3 weeks or something like that, like, to just, like, kick out some horror stories as much as I'd want to, but...
Because it'd take her 6 months to write a fiction book, probably.
I don't know about that. I could probably write one of those. Well, like I said, I did kind of, like, I've written, like, bits and pieces of one that I probably have, you know, maybe, like, a quarter of it. Like, just at random times. Like, because I had an idea, and I was like, oh, I should write this down before I forget about it. So I have it all, like, outlined, and I started writing it. And so I don't know if it's quite 25%, but it's pretty close. So I have, like, a quarter of it done. And I was going to do it, like, a whole, because, you know, I'm a graphic designer, too, and I really like the idea, you know, like, kind of what, like, Grady Hendrix does, where he does, like, what he did with Horror Store, where he wrote, like, a horror story, but he made it look like like an IKEA catalog, because the story was about, like, a haunted IKEA type store. And so he made it look like that and, like, incorporated that into the story. So I really like that form meeting function type shit. I really like book as art object. You know what I mean? So I really like the idea of, like, a story and the design of it, like, going into, you know, like, obviously the most obvious example being, like, House of Leaves. You know what I mean? So I really like stuff like that where it's all just kind of, like, one thing. And so what I was thinking about doing with the story that I've been thinking about for the last year or two was that I want it to look like it's going to be like a nested story, like modern day, but then, like, shit that happened back in the 1930s. But I want it to look like, I don't want to say found footage necessarily, but I want it to look like that. Like, it's kind of like files of, like, somebody that was working on a case. So I want it to look like that. So when you buy the book, you know, it looks like you're delving into somebody's files of, like, all this stuff that they found. You know what I mean? I like that kind of shit. I like that more in book form than movie form. You know what I mean? Like the found footage trope. I like that more in book form than movie form.
Richard Brown says he's going to be getting the novels too.
Well, I hope you like those as well. Yeah. Like I said, novels, I feel like my novels came out good, but like I said, short stories is more my preferred. When I write fiction, I kind of like doing short stories more. But I think my novels came out okay. They're not like super, super long. I don't really understand, because you know how some of those people can, like, they just come up with like an entire fucking universe and they'll write like fucking 10 books in that shit, like with a whole interconnected, and I'm just like, I don't understand how people have the brains to like do that. Like, I'm not organized enough to do that. I think that's why I like short stories better, because it's like I just write one story and it's like, 20, 30, 40 pages long, and it's just like that's just the end of it, you know what I mean? That I can move on to something else. I don't have to like keep track of all the fucking details in my head, which is too much.
Okay, the show's been going on for 2 hours now.
Okay.
Do you want something to eat before we leave?
We probably should have something to eat before we leave.
I got some chicken thawing down there. I'll make us a chicken sandwich or something like that. How's that sound?
Yeah, okay.
Sound good?
Well, like I said, we don't have to leave for like another hour or something like that.
You gotta
and,
get ready. Gotta get ready.
yeah, but literally all I have to do is change clothes.
Okay, but I have to cook.
And put shoes on.
I have to cook and I have to do stuff. So an hour, that's about right.
Well, hour and a half.
It's about right.
Like, you know what I mean? If we don't leave till 9:30, that's not that big a deal. Either.
Okay. And then I gotta get gas on the way back. So, no, this is about time to shut it down.
All right. All right, so hopefully you guys enjoyed hanging out with us this Friday evening. Have a good rest of your night. Have a good day tomorrow. We'll see you guys again on Sunday. Like I said, if you're on our Patreon, you can go on there and vote for what movie you want us to talk about on Sunday. Godfather 3 is on there, so if you want us to talk about that, like go on there and like vote for that. I don't remember what else I put in there, but you can vote on that too. So yeah. Thank you, everybody, for Super Chats. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will see you guys again on Sunday evening. Good night.